right, cool. We're live. Welcome to the Nightmare 365 podcast. This is episode 39. We have two gentlemen from Anoka, Minnesota, from the Anoka, the Halloween capital of the world. I'm wearing my t-shirt, my baseball tee that
I like
they
that
sent
t-shirt.
us. It is cool, right?
Yeah,
it's
it
nice
is
and
cool.
soft too. Definitely a good material, so I recommend. We'll link up their website in the show notes, but let's just jump right into this.
Let's do it.
Welcome to Nightmare 365. This is the center of weirdness for the entire planet. There's tons of unsolved mysteries out there. Witches still exist.
What about monsters?
Do you believe in ghosts?
Bigfoot is not out there.
Bigfoot is definitely out there. UFOs are real.
UFOs might be real.
Do you believe in conspiracies?
I consider myself a conspiracy theorist.
I want to believe in all these case files.
Trust no one. The government lies to you.
We're just two brothers exploring the unexplained, mysterious, and spookiness that lives among us. All right. What's up? We have Jeremy and Tony on the line from Anoka, Minnesota, the Halloween capital of the world. What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, good morning.
Hey,
Thank you.
guys.
Nice. So it is the October season. We're about halfway through, getting close to Halloween. Are you guys all geared up? Have you been doing tons of events out there?
Oh gosh, yeah, we've already had probably a dozen events. Today's a day off for us, so we thought we'd sit with you guys for a little while.
Awesome.
nice.
Thank you for doing that. We appreciate that. And I want to start off because I don't know if there's too many Halloween fans, because I feel like Halloween is more regional than anything else in this like great state of ours. But for like Anoka being like the Halloween capital of the world, I know it dates back to the 1920s. And I was reading because there's a lot of different. It depends on who you read. And one of my, which we'll have a guest on Halloween, is Leslie Pratt Bannatyne. She's a Halloween author. She actually even wrote about Anoka in one of her books. And
Yeah, she makes a mention of it in the History Channel video also.
Yes.
yeah, it's a big thing. And I know a lot of other, like, I guess you could say towns around the United States claim to be like, the quote
Haunted
unquote
house. Yeah, capital
like,
of the world, but
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Halloween capital of the world.
Yeah, so just give the listeners kind of a background on it. Where did it all start? How did it start? That it really became the Halloween capital of the world.
Yeah, well, it started like you said back in the 20s, and if you go to NokaHalloween.com, they have the whole history of it there. But it was kids screwing around like they do on Halloween, and back then by screwing around they were soaping windows and letting cows run down Main Street. But so the town came up with they wanted to have a celebration, and that's how it started. But then when we became the official Halloween capital, which we have a store, our Halloween capital store, where you ordered your shirt from, but it's actually a real walk-in store you can go to. Also, the Congressional Declaration is framed and on the wall in our store on 2nd Avenue right here in Anoka.
That's awesome.
Was that done later on? Because some of the history that I read, it was like 1936. Is that correct, or it still dates back to like the 1920s?
Yeah, in February of 1937, actually it had started in 36. Minneapolis had a contest for all the paper boys. And Harold Blair, Anoka resident, was one of maybe 200 young boys that won this contest and was invited to go out to Washington, D.C. So back then the group, it wasn't Anoka Halloween Incorporated, but there was a commercial club that organized the stuff back then.
So the local business owners.
Yep. Yep. And they quickly hopped on this, and they made some Halloween insignia for a sweatshirt for Harold to wear to D.C. And with him, they sent some paperwork for him to present to Congress. And out there, he submitted this paperwork to a congressman, and that's when the proclamation began. So that was February 1937. And then I believe in the early 2000s, we actually went through and legally had our state representative write up some documents for that. That's what Jeremy's referring to in our store.
Oh, okay, that is really cool because as somebody that loves history like I do, and then you have that mixed in with the Halloween aspect, it's awesome. And for like a
And
town to actually do that, I definitely think it puts it on the map for sure.
Yeah, it definitely does.
yeah, and that's what Anoka's about is the history. Do we have towns that make the claims of Halloween capital of the world? Sure. Salem, Massachusetts, that's one. Where's the one you were telling me about this morning?
Independence, Kansas.
Yep.
They're one.
I don't think they make a claim, but they have evidence they held an event in 1919, which would have been before us. But I think where we progress or get this title is because we've consecutively held events every year except for during the World War. So nearly 100 years minus a couple of years as to where they missed out on a couple of years here and there. I think they've been running for 60 years straight.
But what's great about that is it's just a bunch of towns wanting to celebrate Halloween. So there's really no danger in anything.
Of course
last year, Orlando, they went all out on us last year.
Yeah.
They wanted the title, and we were gonna, thank God for trademarks and lawyers, for God's sake.
Yeah, right.
We're still the Halloween capital of the world, but it's nothing bad. It's just what we have is we have a group of people. We have our main chair people that handle all the different events throughout the month. And like I said, we've already had like a dozen of them. There's probably 40.
When do you guys
chair people.
start the
Yeah,
events?
What's that?
Like, what do you start some events in September, or is it just mainly in October?
Well, there's the ghost tours. Those are all throughout the month. But the first event was Tony's event. Actually, it was a pumpkin way up on October 7th. But on Saturday, October 13th, yesterday, there was 3 events.
Okay.
So it's Friday was the pumpkin bowl. Hats off to Anoka, we won. Thank God we kept the pumpkin bowl.
And what's the Pumpkin Bowl?
It's a high school football game.
Oh, okay.
And if we don't win, we lose our pumpkin trophy. But we won, so we're good.
That's awesome.
Oh, I would love to see that.
They've been hosting the Pumpkin Bowl for, I don't know, back into the 60s, I believe.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. So that was kind of cool. But what I was saying is we got 40, 45 chair people on this event, and then on the days of the events, you call in all your friends and your family, and you get them to volunteer and help you out at your event. So, I mean, when you think about a town of ours of 24,000 people, I think it is, we probably get close to 200, maybe 300 people that volunteer for Anoka Halloween. So it is really a big deal. And on our parade day, which is October 27th, that's the Grand Day Parade. That's it's 200 units. People from all over the state, outside the state, they come, they bring their royalty. But it's a very weather dependent event, but it'll bring anywhere from 20 to 40,000 people into this town.
That's awesome.
I don't know how true it is, but I've read in media articles before upwards of 90,000, but that might be stretching. That's a lot of people.
On a beautiful year, there was one year I was the chairman, and it was probably a mid 50-degree day. It's just a beautiful October day. Riding through the parade, I've never seen anything like it. People were 12 deep, and this parade is, 2 miles long?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, a little under 2 miles long. 12 people deep. Imagine that now. You're going for 2 miles straight. You got 12 people deep lying in the street watching you.
Oh, trust me, I've been to the New York City Halloween Day Parade.
There you go. Yeah.
And that's pretty nuts. And I definitely want to make it out to Anoka for sure.
I picture like the town as like the Nightmare Before Christmas, like every day.
Yeah.
Every day is Halloween.
Every day is Halloween.
We're working on it.
That's a lot of our music for our ambassadors. They have their own float, of course. And yeah, we got some Nightmare Before Christmas music that we play.
We got some Nightmare Before Christmas going on right now. It's snowing here.
It just started snowing. Great.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying too. Is as Halloween is very regional, right? And definitely on the East Coast, people think of like Salem, Massachusetts. That's a hot spot to go to. Greg next week is going down to Florida for the Universal.
Yeah, we're going to Orlando for the Halloween Horror Nights in Universal Studios.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like when I was growing up, until like my accession, like when I started reading and like the internet became available and I started looking stuff up for more Halloween things, I never really heard about Anoka. And I guess that's what I'm saying as far as we talked before, the show started, and like
because you hear all about like the the History Channel, the Travel Channel usually does like the haunted places or haunted houses and stuff like that. They even did one. I don't know if it was like a diners, drive-ins, and dives, but like the North Pole, Alaska,
Yeah.
for like Santa. So
Yeah, that's one thing. Do you notice a lot of people from like not even just in like your region by like Minnesota, but people from like the East Coast, West Coast traveling to Anoka because it is the Halloween capital or like this time of year?
Nowadays, we will get more just because of the internet and people can Google us and hear about us. I
Yeah,
mean, we've got on the online store, we're shipping Halloween merchandise all over the world.
that's good for you guys.
So people hear about us. But
plus it's
many
really
years
easy to
ago, there
get
was
to, right? Because it's
what's
right
that?
outside of Minnesota.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
So it's like really easy to get to because it's right outside Minnesota.
Yeah, right outside Minneapolis. Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
Minneapolis. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're only about a half hour north of Minneapolis. So yeah, you can fly right in and come right up. But I mean, we can support all of that stuff, and it's just more people are hearing about us. It's more of a local event, like you would say, but the whole state knows about it. That's for sure, and it really spreads with a lot of the royalty groups and all the other festivals. I mean, every town in this state has a festival. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, just like
with
ours,
that.
and every town around us has something going on.
Yeah, keep in mind, we're just a simple nonprofit, all volunteers. We don't spend any money on any type of media, so we're not like a for-profit business where they would just market the shit out of their event. They see a return on that. We're just, it's a communal events, most of which are free. We don't do any kind of marketing, so it's just kind of as the word spreads naturally. That's how people hear about it.
Yeah, that's one thing when I was reading on your website, which I'm going to link up, AnokaHalloween.com. But when I was that's why I wanted to get like a shirt, a pin, some other stuff, because it does seem like it just goes back to the community for like a good cause.
Which is awesome.
And it's
Well,
not,
it does. Our main goal, the whole purpose of what we do is we have our three ambassadors. Those are our major three scholarships we give out at the end of the year. I think they're up to $3,000 now each, or 25, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We give out probably, what is it, $15,000+ in scholarships because we pick with the people we pick. We just started one a couple of years ago because we get so much help from the city, the police, the fire department. So we did a service, someone that wants to go into that line of work. We've got community service members that we give scholarships to, kids in high school that step it up and really get out and volunteer their time. But then we donate back to the elementary schools and the media center. So really, that's what it's all about. I mean, we all just love Halloween, so it's fun to get together with other people that like it like that.
Sure.
And like I said, the communal engagement, like I said, almost all the events are free. So we have a big parade like that, or it's a place a family can take their kids, and make a tradition of it.
Now, is like the town logo like a pumpkin or anything like that?
Not specifically the city itself, but there is quite a few pumpkin or witch, if you want to call it logos, but stuff around town.
Well, we have right now. The city has put up all the Halloween banners on all the street lights. They just went out and got some new decorations of pumpkins, bats, and witch heads to put on all the street lights that light up at night.
We got linked from the 70s.
Yeah, we got Blinky. Yep, it's what is it? Probably a 15-foot tall blinking neon pumpkin. It was part of way back in the day. It was part of a giant pumpkin contest. So somebody made one out of neon, and we still use it to this day. So the city embraces it. The city supports us 100%. We could never do it without them.
Yeah.
I mean, the streets that we shut down, it's quite amazing. Because when we shut down a street, we're shutting down like state highways.
Now, how did you guys get involved in like the committee? Like, were you always just into Halloween, and then you decided to take it to another level, like we did?
You go first, Jeremy.
Yeah. Well, I still work at a local Chevy dealer in town, Main Motor Chevrolet, Anoka, Minnesota.
Matt does drive a Chevy Colorado truck, which is orange. We call it the Boomobile.
Yes.
Well, when you're time for an upgrade or a new one.
Yeah, great. We stock orange vehicles. I get crap all the time from it. I said, hey, we're in Anoka. We're stocking orange vehicles.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, so I used to decorate cars for the night parade and then I was asked by Ron Nordine, our current chairman, who's been on the Halloween committee for
40 years.
40, 50 years, something like that. He asked me to join the committee. They needed somebody new to run the parades. And I said, absolutely not. I will not take on that responsibility. I came home, I told my wife, and she said, you call him back right now? Absolutely, yes. And 10 years later, where we're at now, and we just handed the parades off to 4 guys.
Okay.
And when I say parades, there's the night parade, the kiddie parade, and the grand day parade. And if you think it's just setting up a little parade, it's about a 3-month solid piece of work on that one.
Yeah,
well, just the grand day parade is, I would say, probably the largest parade in our state. Right?
Yeah, it really is. So anyway, so that's how I got involved. And then Tony, we suckered him in, and he came in with a bunch of big ideas and brought in this giant pumpkin way off, which if you look, what is it, bigpumpkin.com?
Bigpumpkins.com.
Bigpumpkins.com. Go check out some of the largest pumpkins around. And to get those people to take time out of their day and
big pumpkins,
bring those giant fragile pumpkins to Anoka, it's something to
Now, do you guys ever have like the way-offs, like televised? Because I know like they do that like around Halloween. They have like the biggest pumpkin contest and stuff like that.
I didn't at this event. Just you got to have a volunteer for that and whatnot. However, there was a guy from the Philippines from some kind of media source that was Facebook Living, and I checked that out, and he had like over 12,000 views. So that was kind of neat. And I guess I came onto the committee about 4 years ago. I'm not from Anoka. I don't live in Anoka, but I've always lived nearby, a neighboring town. And I always loved Halloween. I guess probably since high school, I always knew that Anoka was the Halloween capital of the world. And I think I just kind of wanted to do more. And I showed up to a meeting one winter and just kept coming to meetings. And I guess my goal is to have it live up to its name. Obviously we have limited resources, funds, volunteers, and whatnot. But
sure,
I kind of wanted to push the envelope with this and see what I could do. So
now, where do you see it going in the future?
I guess that just depends on how much support we can get from volunteers, community, whatnot. I'm a real big thinker, so I know a lot of my goals won't happen. I would like to see full blown theme park, but we just don't have the space for that. Everything in Anoka is already built up pretty much, but and like I said, we're limited with volunteers and whatnot. It'd be great to see more of the local businesses kind of put more of a Halloween spin on things year round.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of time and working things out and keep going. Even if it stays the way it is now, I guess that's fine. We still hold our events every year, and it's a great tradition.
Well, yeah, getting to that point, I kind of know what it is, just because if you go to Salem, there's a lot of very commercialized, I guess you would say, touristy stuff.
Yeah.
And for somebody like me, I always want like the authentic, piece of it, because you go to Salem, everything's a witch.
Well,
right?
even the police logo,
Yeah.
The uniform patch is a witch.
Yeah, and same thing with like Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow is not as commercialized. I think it's more of a town, probably on your size, where it's the same thing. Everything is like a headless horseman, but they have small events, but it's not as big as I would, say something like Salem. So it seems like you're right in like the middle of that.
Yeah, which I don't know, has its ups and downs. It's a nonprofit, so we're only capable of so much.
Right.
It's very family oriented, so we can't. Us as our group couldn't have like a gory haunted house type thing, because we're more in that category of family.
But the good news is we can piggyback on Knights of Columbus has a haunted house.
Yes.
So we let them. Those are other, there's other nonprofits that we partner. The Lions, they host a great big tent party that we were going to look at doing. Don't have the resources to make that happen, so give it to the Lions. They piggyback off us. The city does a wine tasting, which piggybacks off of us. So Anoka Halloween, as a committee and a group, we have a month-long festival. So it is quite large.
Mm-hmm.
And we do look at always trying to keep it growing, but at some point you got to just do what you do and do it really well.
Yes.
And we've got we've got our 100th anniversary coming up for 2020. We're trying to publish a book. We're trying to get some good collectibles, and really what we want is people's stories about Anoka. And we have a guy that's a committee member just specifically for the 100-year anniversary, and he is right now collecting stories. So if any of your listeners out there, ever as a kid sometime came to Anoka Halloween parade and got a bag full of candy and thought it was the coolest thing in the world, reach out to him on our website, because those are the kind of stories and the pictures, and that's the kind of stuff, the history stuff that we're really about. The commercial Salems and the commercial Orlandos, go get it. Sell all the stuff you can. We absolutely love it. But in Anoka, you come here because you love the history of Halloween, and you look around our town and you see this stuff all year long. All year long. You've got in cement, you've got a medallion. Whenever you see one of our fire trucks going down the street, it's got that same logo that you guys linked up to, that 73 button on the back of it, because they are Anoka Halloween.
Yeah, one thing that's kind of neat, and you could probably speak more about this, Jeremy. If you ever talk to somebody from Anoka, I think it kind of has Halloween and Anoka has a special connection with the people that grew up here, because they started out their lives, they're in kindergarten or elementary school, they do the kiddie parade. And then they grow up a little bit, they're in high school, they are in the marching band and the Grand Day parade. So I think it really gives the local residents a connection, just because this is what they know. Actually, our elementary schools still sell Anoka Halloween buttons in the schools every year for a fundraiser, which is really neat.
And then the winners of that get to ride the big parade. Tony was telling you my story, because I have lived in this town forever. And I was in elementary school in the kiddie parade, and I was in middle school, carried the sousaphone, and then I did it in high school. And then all of a sudden school was done. I was like, crap, now what do I do?
I guess you just watch or join the committee and help organize.
Exactly.
That's cool. Yeah, and that was one of my other things too. Is does everybody really embrace it, like kids?
Well, yeah, you take
adults.
pride in your community. You take pride in your town.
Yeah,
they do. They do to a point. I mean, in the age we live in and the world we live in, of course, we're going to have some people that say Halloween is evil and it's pagan, and it's ridiculous that we do that. But at the end of the day, you think about it. We have a private Catholic school in town that does kindergarten through 8th grade, St. Stephen's Church. They march in our Halloween parade because that's how much of a family event it is.
Well, that's another thing. Like I always say, people, if they say that it's like demonic, evil, all that stuff, that can get very commercialized, like we were talking about with Salem and everything. But if you really dive into the history of Halloween and what it is and what it represents, that's not really what it is.
Yeah, and that's not what do we have ghost tours? Yeah, we do these really cool ghost tours around the town. The Anoka Historical Society, they do an awesome job with it. I've done multiple ones. Are there ghosts in this town? Yep. My wife has experienced that.
Let's talk about that. Hold on a second.
Okay.
What?
Well, yeah, because when we looked up, there's a lot of YouTube videos too where people travel to Anoka, and we were looking at some and then people were saying like all the like ghost stories that had come along with Anoka. So yeah, I would love to hear some of this.
Yeah, what happened to her?
The most ghost stories I've heard about in this town are at the asylum, the old asylum, which you hate to pigeonhole it as a ghost thing, because just recently we've embraced the Eagle's Nest and we're got housing for veterans up there, and I mean it's really a great thing that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go, supposedly, I have not been there, but again, I have friends whose mothers were nurses up there that have heard the screaming and the people's voices down at the tunnels is where the ghosts are at the Salem.
So,
which actually, I think they closed the asylum on Halloween or in the month of October, right?
That whole thing is pretty crazy. But in town, when we go on the ghost tours, it's a big White House antique center now. It used to be a doctor's place. It's attached to the Masonic Hall in town.
Colonial Hall.
Yeah, and that's the one that when my wife and I went on a ghost tour, they started telling the story. And before the ghost tour people told the story, my wife told me that when she and her sister would go there with her mom, looking around, and they always smelt cigar smoke up on the second level.
Huh.
Well, then we get to this part of the ghost tour, and the ghost story they start telling us is the doctor used to smoke cigars in this building, and people have claimed that they smell cigar smoke still in the building. And I looked at my wife and go, "You've been here before?" She goes, "Never." Huh. So there's some truth in there. We've got, local restaurants in town where their upper level isn't used, and people claim they see people walking around up there, and nobody's up there. So we got it.
Well,
We
with that
got
much history, and if it dates back to like the 1920s, if I was obsessed with Halloween like I am, and I lived in the town, I wouldn't want to leave.
Hell yeah! Why not? Why wouldn't you want to leave?
No, it's a fun place at Halloween. It's a fun place in October. It's a fun place all year. I mean, we got some literally huge festivals throughout the rest of the year too. The Chamber of Commerce in this town does a wonderful job. We have a Riverfest craft fair in the summertime that brings in another 20, 30,000 people. I mean, we're a river city. We're on two rivers.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of stuff to do. The food truck festival just came to our town. We brought more people in than the food truck festival when they hit St. Paul, which is the capital. So people like our town.
That's good.
They love Halloween.
What is, yeah, like that was one of the other things too, is as far as like Halloween related, things or stores, is there stuff always open? So like if I came there in January, will I still kind of have
A
that
lot of snow. Probably.
Halloween
Lot of
vibe?
snow.
Well, if you came in January, you give us a call. We'll open the store for you. But no, the stores open one weekend every month, and that's a lot of. There's quite a few stores in town. They're called occasional stores, where they're only open on the weekends, selling knickknacks and antiques and that type of a thing. So we try to mirror off that, and for the whole year, we're always open one weekend a month. In September, we're open, I think she did 3 weekends, and then October, it's a lot of hours in October. But yes, we do have a retail store that is open all year. Just have to check the dates if you're coming into town.
As far as Halloween in general, if you come, like you said, January, it's not going to be as Halloweeny as you wished, probably. I mean, there is some stuff that's out all year round. And like I was saying earlier, that's kind of my goals, is to kind of push for that a little bit. Obviously, the majority of the public isn't going to want too much Halloween stuff around Christmas, for example. But yeah, I would definitely more of a presence of Halloween year round. For people like you or anybody else that's a huge Halloween fan, and then you come to Anoka, it's, yeah, well, what can I do? What can I see that's Halloween theme? But then again, like you mentioned Salem and stuff, if you start getting into that territory, you might start get kind of commercialized. So I don't know what's the best decision is to make, but
well, even Salem doesn't do
is like benches. Get some park benches out there with Halloween stuff on them.
Yeah,
around. I mean, there's things we're trying to do, but it takes money. So
no, of course, and like
your listeners want to donate some bench money, we'll get her going.
There you go. Well, yeah, even no matter what town you are, there's always going to be that. Even Salem, there's a bunch of things that are always open in like September, October, November, and then the rest of the year you don't see those things. But they still have like the Witch Museum always open, things like that. So yeah, I understand. You live in the community. There's only so much, I guess, you can embrace it. After a while, you just want to do other things, even with us,
Yeah, and that's a couple of projects that I've been kind of working on for a while now, but it's just such a challenge. But I would like to have a Halloween museum here in Anoka, but at the same time, you have to have money to open it. Let's say that's all taken care of, and then are you going to have that many people that come in January? It's
right.
It might just end up being closed anyway. So,
well,
it's a challenge.
Yeah, that's a thing too. As far as like a first timer, like I never been to there. Like, what would you recommend? Like, what's a good starting point? What are things that are must sees? For the
if
town?
we came in October.
If you came in October, must sees. Well, I'm a huge fan of our wine night. Of course, you got to see the parade. I mean, the period.
Yeah, the Grand Day Parade is the biggest event.
I mean, here's kind of the level of our Grand Day Parade. We have multiple businesses that sponsor. Okay, before this parade starts, there's a 5K run. So the whole streets is a 5K run.
Costume 5K run.
Yep, they're all costumed up. It's absolutely hilarious. And then we hold the parade. We have the T6 Thunderbolt. It's antique airplanes come in, and they do a flyover with smoke and stuff. It's the cool. Literally gives you goosebumps when you see it, which is sponsored by another local business, Ammunition Town. And then all of a sudden, then go our military, and then you're in for a 2-hour festival parade. So I mean, that's just that one day. But
The schedule of events changes from year to year, like what dates, what happens. Like
Sure.
a couple years ago, there was like 11 events on one Saturday.
Yep.
So it kind of depends. Like a day
Whoa.
like that would be great to come because at that time we had the Amazing Race. You could see the Amazing Race. You could go to the pumpkin carving. So it kind of depends. But the Grand Day Parade is probably the biggest event. And you just have to see what the event schedule and what you think would you like the most.
But the light up the night parade, that's my favorite. It's a 45-minute parade. It's really short. Everything's lit up. And then we have the city again helping us out. We have 3 giant bonfires over in City Hall parking lot.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
Then everybody who's watching the parade goes over to the bonfires, and we've got s'mores over there that you can buy, and it's music over there. I mean, it turns into a street dance is what our goal is for that whole bonfire. That's my favorite event. I absolutely love that.
That does sound like really cool, like a fall event, sitting by the fire,
Yep.
like apple cider, s'mores.
Yeah,
Non-alcoholic, of course.
I don't think too many people do that, like as far as bonfires, because that's something in like a Halloween tradition.
Well, and again, that's the city comes in and we have great big culverts they put up so the fires are safe for the people. The fire department is the one that monitors it, so they're right there. Again, all this is about kids, families, and being safe and fun out in the community.
And one thing that separates us, I think, from other cities, because a lot of cities have the same type of things, but they cram everything into
Probably a
Friday,
day,
Saturday,
right? Yeah.
Sunday, as to where we kind of stretch it out and we want to celebrate Halloween through the whole month of October. So it kind of makes us unique in a way in regards to that. Plus, some of the stuff is so big, there's no way we could tie it into another event.
Now,
And here, I'll just run through a few things if anybody's. But there's an Orange Tie Ball coming up, which is a dress up, hang out with your friends kind of event. That's really fun. This year's Mad Hatter theme. We got the bonfire, the light up the night parade. We got, if you just like bingo, we got 2 nights of bingo at the American Legion. They house it, sold out every year, packed house. You can't ever get in. One of our committee members does a medallion hunt. He hides it 2 to 3 months earlier, so it's good and hidden and covered up with leaves.
Oh, boy.
And people win $400 for finding that medallion. And I tell you, that medallion is very sought after by collectors. We've got wine and canvas night. We've got a wine tasting night. We've got the big parade of little people. That's the kiddie parade, we call it. We're actually having another all high school class reunion this year. The Grey Ghost one, the Grand Day Parade. A Royal Ambassador coronation, and then we line it all up Saturday morning with a pancake breakfast.
Well, that's nice.
That's a lot of stuff. I don't think any other town really
No.
does that much
That's only
like the
2
month of.
weeks. What I just told you about doesn't start until Friday the 19th. We got a whole nother page of events that are going on right now or have already happened. So that should give you an event or an idea of what we do here.
Now, do you or does the town, like, I don't know, around here, Mischief Night is kind of like a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that happen there or no? Is that what you try to get away from that? I'm assuming.
Well, Anoka Halloween as a committee does not have that type of a night, but actually last night was the Anoka Zombie Pub Crawl. So I think there was a little mischief going on last night.
Yeah, because like a big thing like when we were growing up was, toilet paper, egging people's like houses and stuff like that.
That's how this all started.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get away from that. I remember that growing up also, but kids are going to be kids.
Sure.
So that's cool, but I think now they would rather text themselves or,
Yeah, which is sad.
I don't see many people toilet paper and egging people anymore.
Now are some of the events like obviously yearly, and do they happen on the same dates, or that's always changing every year? So if we wanted to come to like the pumpkin way off or like the medallion, I would love to do that.
Yeah, I would love to do the medallion hunt.
Depends. No, the pumpkin way off, that will be the first Sunday of October every year.
And then everything kind of goes backwards from the Grand Day Parade is always the Saturday before actual Halloween. So if Halloween actually falls on a Saturday, that's a great year to come out and be part of us because things are out of control that night. But other than that, you always look for the Saturday previous. The Saturday before Halloween is the Grand Day Parade, and then everything works backwards from there.
Okay. Now, has anyone never found the medallion?
Nope. If they get to the 5th clue, it literally pretty much tells you to take 3 steps away from this spot and
It's like a
Yeah,
geocache. If you ever
we
went
even
geocaching.
that gets pretty nuts too. There's I don't know. There's got to be a couple hundred people
Yeah.
looking for that medallion.
It's
That's
you
gotta
get
get heated.
$400 to get right in the parade.
Yeah.
Wait, you get to ride in the parade if you find this?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to do this.
We should come out for the 100. What is it? The 100th?
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah,
You should do that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some big special events too. I mean, we've been, like Jeremy said earlier, we're working on stuff a couple years from now. Right now, and just our annual events too. We really do spend all year working on this stuff.
Yeah, basically the way we work it now is we don't have meetings in October because there's too much stuff going on. We'll have a wrap up meeting in November. We take December off so everybody can enjoy Christmas with their families, and then January we start up again for the year.
That's amazing.
that is. It's my kind of town for sure.
You should probably move there.
Maybe I will.
You can get a new Chevy.
I get a new Chevy.
Yep.
It's orange and black.
Yep.
Orange with black racing stripes.
Oh yeah, it's all orange and black. There's nothing else on it.
Yeah.
So it looks good. I'll have to send a picture to you
We can
guys.
see if we have any Anoka Halloween license plate frames left around for it.
Mhm.
Oh,
that
there you
would
go.
be great.
I'll drive around with that. I support it, and especially if it goes to a good cause. So now Halloween falls on a Wednesday. Is there going to be anything like? Is it just normal trick or treating, things like that in the town?
Yeah. Yep. Normal trick or treating. Once we finish up with the Grand Day Parade, like I said, we have that coronation. We get our ambassadors in place, and then actual Halloween night, you go spend it with your kids, take them out, keep them safe.
Now, what are you guys dressing up as this year?
What'd you say?
What are we dressing up as this year?
Oh, well, I lost my partner last night. I was gonna go in an orange tuxedo because you can't live in this town without having a full orange tuxedo. But my blue tuxedo partner, we were gonna go as Dead and Deader instead of Dumb and Dumber, you know. But that didn't work out.
Matt
So
has
I'm passing.
Matt
Yeah,
has
I
a
haven't,
Halloween tuxedo.
I haven't got too crazy on costumes the last couple of years just because I've been so busy with the Anoka Halloween stuff. It's tough to juggle all that stuff. Sometimes you got to make some personal sacrifices for the community.
Ah, bummer. Do you guys have a favorite costume? Like we'll leave you with this. You know, we'll end it with this because I know you guys have to get back and enjoy October, but also kind of keep planning things. But do you have throughout the years, even when you were really younger, do you have a favorite Halloween costume? Whether it was yours or somebody else's.
I don't think I do. Nothing offhand.
The favorite one I had as a kid, because it was always easy and I thought it was cool that I could get a beard, was going as a hobo and using coffee grounds as my beard. That
All
was always
right.
really fun. But right now I'm 100% set on Nightmare Before Christmas. Jack Skellington's that's my passion right now.
I don't necessarily think it was my favorite, but I do remember one Halloween I was going as Frankenstein or something, and my parents put green oatmeal on my face.
There you go.
Green oatmeal. I never heard of that before.
What were you supposed to be? Some kind of like goblins, the swamp thing?
I think I was supposed to be some kind of Frankenstein. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I also remember I did do the coffee grounds hobo thing.
I think
as
every
well.
kid did. It was just cool to do.
Yeah, there
back
was a
in
lot
the-
of costumes like that growing up around here. I
The
remember that.
scarecrow, because you just
back in the 80s
put
and
hay.
90s. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate both Jeremy and Tony coming on and talking about Anoka, giving us some information. So thank you guys for this. Really appreciate
No,
it.
thank you. Appreciate you linking up, buying some of our stuff, and getting the word out.
Yeah,
I'll
and
keep in touch with you guys, and you guys have a happy Halloween and month of October as well.
thanks.
Thank you.
And we'll definitely keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care, guys.
Yep.
Anoka Halloween, man.
Yeah, what do you think about that, man?
I like it. I think that the nonprofit, everything going back to the town, going back, giving away scholarships and everything like that is awesome. They do have the online store, anokahalloween.com, where you could buy like t-shirts, hats, buttons.
Yeah, we'll link it up
coffee
in the
mugs.
description for sure, and in the show notes and on our YouTube channel. And that's one thing. That's why I wanted to kind of have them on and talk about it, because as a Halloween, I don't know, historian,
Mhm.
I just there's certain things about Halloween that really resonate with me.
Yeah, and they're not too commercialized either.
No, and
You know,
that's the thing I love about it.
And it's all about the family. It's all about history,
The community.
the community. I like that.
Yeah, it is. It's cool. And each year they have a different design. I mean, obviously the logo that I'm wearing on the shirt, that's their,
Main, yeah.
staple. But other than that, like you could see, we have the button, and that changes every year.
I don't know if you can see that.
That was cool. Yeah, it might be a little bit too small for our YouTube listeners. But yeah, this is just one thing that is just getting, like, everybody, like, he even mentioned it, Tony and Jeremy said that everybody thinks like Halloween is demonic, like satanic, like it's rituals, like celebrating, like all like that's evil. That's not really what it is. Like
No.
if you look back at, yes, kids had a night that they just ran around, that they were kind of let up. Yeah. And then the community says, all right, we don't want our stuff being broken and trash. So let's like think of stuff. And that's where like it for
The trick or treat came from, yeah.
Yeah, and that's for 100 years. It dates back into the history. And then you look at the community coming together, like how can we do? We do parades, we do bonfires, we hand out candy. Like even if you watch on YouTube channel, just the Anoka Halloween parade, you just see them like they're just throwing candy.
That's awesome.
Like everybody has like buckets and they're just throwing candy. They just throw it on the floor and you see all like the kids run and get it. Like that's what Halloween is.
And a 2-mile long parade.
That's great.
Awesome.
It really is. And I think I'm gonna like try to go for their 100th. Would you really want to go?
It's 2020, right?
Yeah.
Not next year, the year
Yeah.
after. I think that would be awesome.
We should do like the medallion thing. I would like to see like the big pumpkin way off.
I think the medallion thing would be cool, like just to find a special thing. So let's see. In 2020, right? Halloween is... It's actually on a Saturday. No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's actually on a Saturday, yeah.
is it really?
October 31st is a Saturday that year.
There you go. So I think that we might have to do that. We might have to check the schedule and go out for like a long weekend. Just they have the wine tasting. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool. Look for the medallion. That's like 100 years of history. Like finding that. Imagine like we could have that in the studio. That'd be something that's like Halloween. It would link us.
That's got to get passionate. People got to be passionate about like
They have to be.
imagine I'm not telling you this, like yelling at each other for
Well,
finding
yeah.
the medallion. Plus, you get to ride in the parade.
There's 100. He said like what? 100 people like really look for this thing.
Yeah, and the guy places it like 3 months prior. You got to follow that guy around for 3 months prior.
Just say, where is it?
Yeah.
How many people like we should probably ask them, but how many people do you think like, oh, I have like 5 years out of the, like imagine you were a little kid, you lived in that town and you grew up and you like your parents took, like mom and dad got one.
Yeah.
Then maybe like when you were a little older you got one, and then now like for the last couple of years you found it. That's like some good history right there.
That is very good history.
And that's cool. Like when you think of Halloween towns, I mean, there's claim to fame. Like we live on the East Coast, so we always hear Sleepy Hollow, Salem, things like that.
Yeah, are you more like when you hear a Halloween town, you more think of like haunted stuff and haunted attractions?
Well, that's because they pop up this time of year.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, but that's what I think of.
Yeah,
Like Nightmare Before Christmas type deal.
yeah, and that's what this town does.
Yeah.
And he just rattled off like just 2 weeks out of the month of just events that goes on, and that's not even including the parades.
No, it's awesome.
Because they have a night parade which is all illuminated, and then like the day parade. So I think we should put that on our calendar for sure.
AnokaHalloween.com.
Would you really do it? Would you go?
Yeah, why not? I think that would be amazing.
It would just be a cool trip. We can go out to Minnesota, fly in,
Yeah.
stay. film some
Minneapolis
stuff.
right there.
Yeah.
30 minutes outside of Minneapolis.
We could
We
even
hit the Mall of America, too.
I think,
Huge mall.
see, that's the kind of stuff that I want to do as far as like just travel, and just see, kind of.
It is the Halloween capital of the world.
Yeah, because think about this. Like I always think of Halloween as very regional, right? You have like the North, like the way we kind of celebrate it, like the Northeast, then you have the South. And even like when you think of like California, right? It's kind of summer there still, even, watching some of those Halloween parades on TV.
Sure.
It's like, it's very summer-esque. It doesn't feel like fall, the
No.
leaves.
Today felt like fall.
Oh, yeah, it does.
48 degrees out.
So, I don't know, man. Do you think everybody should check that out?
I think they should. Especially like go support them because they're not for profit and they give back to the community, give back to great causes, scholarships.
Yeah, they give out scholarship to the kids.
Anoka, ANOKA, Halloween.com. They have a shop right online. And then if you're in the town, go to their downtown storage, check their hours, they said.
Yeah, like I did. Just order a pin, t-shirt. But thanks for tuning in to Case File 39. A little Halloween for you on this October halfway point, really, right? Till the actual night of Halloween, which falls on a Wednesday. So thanks for listening to this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, give us a, a little review on iTunes. Also, check out nightmare365.com because we have all of our information there. And I guess until next time, stay spooky.
Stay spooky.